the tax people, the SARS people, they are coming down hard on influencers and content creators.
People asking is the whole debate about whether I should pay tax or whether not.
You know, register if you are not registered, if you're young and you're new to groot mens wees.
Yeah.
Highly don't recommend, and you don't want to get on their bad side.
Not everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
But that's why it's important to get a good tax practitioner or a good accountant that can actually advise you properly on it.
Yeah, nice.
That would have been nice,
So
but
nice. Yeah.
unfortunately not.
So I was almost like, they didn't pay over my tax. You skerminkel.
So there is a payment arrangement that you can make with SARS.
Like 5 years jail. And you're like, oh my word, I did not even murder anybody. Do I think our tax money is being used properly? No. But 2 wrongs doesn't make a right.
In your personal capacity, that would be medical aid and retirement annuity.
Maybe don't put that on the internet.
Yeah.
But maybe you are geeing yourself out as a toffee and SARS is going to kill you.
Yeah.
Gerhard, welcome
Yes, thank
to
you.
Samuel Studios. So as you might have seen, I put a post on Facebook because the tax people, the SARS people, they are coming down hard on influencers and content creators. Some of the
Yes.
people in the comment section seem to think that I am SARS because they were fighting with me. Because they're like, no, they don't use the money where it's supposed to go. Blah. I know that.
Yeah.
But one of the companies within South Africa that really does their job is SARS. And you don't want to get on their bad side.
You know what? They are very active
Mm-hmm.
in trying to do their job. Whether it's right or whether it's wrong, there's always a debate about it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's mainly what we saw in the comments.
Yeah.
People asking is the whole debate about whether I should pay tax or whether not.
Yeah.
And am I paying the right tax? And especially with content creators and the way you guys are being targeted, it's because there was nothing before that said you guys have to pay tax or how to pay tax, because you've got certain circumstances that changes, and there's a bit of barter trading going on with companies, etc. So it is a difficult thing, especially because you also get money from overseas, or if you start monetizing on certain platforms, money comes from overseas. So how to tax that? And yeah, so it is a bit of a difficult topic to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think that if you know what is taxable and you know what to claim, what not to claim, what you can write off as a expense, that gives you the power to make sure that you don't overpay on tax.
100%.
Because it's a very new industry, and I understand how it got to this point in terms of a lot of people lost their job in COVID, or
Yes.
they were laid off or paid less, and they just started, making silly videos. And then it starts with one person sending you a gift, and then maybe a brand reaches out and says, listen, I'll give you this, and in return you do this. And then you get to a point where you start earning income,
Yeah.
and then I think people are afraid to get started because you don't want to, register if you are not registered, if you're young and you're new to groot mens wees.
Yeah.
Highly don't recommend, but I think people are afraid to start because you don't want to be in trouble.
Yeah. Remember that there's a few structures that you need to remember when looking at tax, looking at if you're going to take it serious or not, kind of thing. Just by the way, it's a bit of a sideline thing. Doesn't generate necessarily a lot of money. However, one needs to remember there's certain expenses you keep on putting into it. Call it videographers, video editing, getting certain equipment, etc. But if you do it, call it in your own personal name, and it's not generating a lot of money, you still need to declare the income you get from it. So, and I think we had this discussion previously, is that people then, they actually go and they do it as a sole proprietor, and you don't need to register sole proprietor, but it's basically you as an individual that's also trading as a business. And then you still need to declare your income from that trading entity. The moment you go into a registered company, then it starts going differently. But then you focus more on you actually want to do something with it,
Yeah.
with this business, and then you start employing people, and you get suppliers, and you do branding and all that kind of stuff. You start dealing like a proper business and doing business properly, and you start doing invoices, and then you've got proper expenses to deduct as
Yeah.
well. And there's different tax rates between an individual and a company. You have to remember that an individual starts, call it at 0% tax, but goes all the way to 45% tax. In a
Yeah.
business, you pay 27% tax. But now the other thing that we have to remember as well is that in both cases, there's deductions. In both cases, you can deduct certain things. In a business, there's more things that you can deduct if it's in the process of generating that income.
Okay.
In addition, is that if you qualify as a small business corporation, then you get a lesser tax rate. So then there's more profit you make before you start paying tax. Not everyone knows about it,
Yeah.
but that's why it's important to get a good tax practitioner or a good accountant that can actually advise you properly on it.
Yeah. That's why it's important for me to talk about this, is because a lot of people don't take content creators seriously as a business, which I get. It's a new type of business. It's a new thing, influencers, which is a stupid word, but it's what it's called.
Yeah.
But I think this is an industry that has the potential to bring in a lot of job creations, especially for creatives, especially for your videographer, photographers, sound engineers. Like, while there's people outside that doesn't take you seriously, I feel like we as content creators needs to take ourselves seriously. I'm running a business. I'm a business boss. Please and thank you. But then you kind of need to know what your rights are. You need to know what counts as expenses. You need to know what is better to remain a sole proprietor or to register as maybe a PTY Limited. That's what we did.
We did, yeah.
Because there is benefits and, like, what do you call it? Like,
Certain additional deductions you can have,
Yeah.
or certain things that aren't allowed in a sole proprietor that's allowed in a PTY Limited.
and I get where the frustration comes in, because I think a lot of content creators are full-time employees. They are employed. The content creation is a side hustle. So what's frustrating people, which I get, is now the little bit of extra income that you're making, which you did because the cost of living is so high, your salary doesn't cut it anymore. So now you're doing something on the side, but then it puts you into a higher tax bracket.
Yes.
And then before you know it, you're paying even more tax. And I think it's important for people to know, even if you do it as a side hustle, you can still deduct your expenses as a business expense.
Yes. So that's why I say, and let's take the scenario quickly, and we say, okay, as your salary income, you've call it 500,000 a year, but then you've got the side hustle, and let's say you made 100,000 from that. In terms of tax, those two are combined, and you're being taxed at 600,000 for the year.
Yes.
So that's how that works. But you have to also then remember, if you trade as a sole proprietor, you've got this trading going on. There are certain things that you can deduct. You can deduct the cost of equipment, the cost of travel. The main thing, and the way the Act reads, is anything that you do in the process of creating that income can be deducted. And that's the important part. That's the way to actually look at it.
Yeah.
So, yes, there are things there, but now the other thing is, and that's why it's so important to get a good tax practitioner or a good accountant to advise you accordingly, because each person's lifestyle differs, each person's kind of income differs. So,
And content creation is so wide.
yeah, it is so wide.
It's so wide. So it's going to be different for everyone. So I just want to put the disclaimer. This is just general advice. But for your specific case, it is better to speak to a professional, because
Absolutely, because your situation can differ from the next content creator. And that's why it's important. With us, we always look at the individual, the situation, and we structure something that's beneficial for them. It's very important to understand as well is that we never structure something to try and pay less tax necessarily. Well, there's various reasons
Yeah.
that we structure things.
Yeah.
Because you've got different legal entities. I mean, a PTY Limited is a different legal entity or legal, what do you call it, responsibility. It's like a person on its own. It's a
Yeah.
juristic person. So that's different from you as the individual. And in terms of tax, then that's being kept separate. But I mean that also with your risk, if something does happen, you as the individual don't necessarily get what's the negatively impacted
Yeah.
in a situation where you might need to close the business, as an example.
Yeah. So registering as a PTY Limited decreases your personal liability and
risk,
risk.
yeah.
So I think it is different for everyone. Whether it's difficult to ask the question, is it better to be a sole proprietor or PTY Limited? Because it depends on your situation.
Yes.
So first of all, with the if you are, for example, doing it as a side hustle, you're just doing a couple of things, then you can look at maybe if you obviously operate from your home.
Yes.
So a portion of that, would that be able to be claimed as
An
a business expense?
Yes, as long as it's being dealt with in the right manner. It needs to be specific
Yeah.
and only used for that business purpose. Then you can apportion it. And there's a percentage based on the actual size of the property, that if you use 12% of the property for
Yeah.
business use, then you can, but
Yeah.
not the bond cost.
Yeah. Obviously
There's
not the whole
other
house.
costs, not the
because
whole house,
you
but
live
also,
there.
yeah, not the actual amount you pay on the bond, as an example.
That would have been nice.
That would have been nice,
So
but
nice. Yeah.
unfortunately not. But if it's rental, it's a different story. If you pay rental for the house and you've got that, call it 12%, then you can apportion it that way.
Yeah.
But there's other costs as well. I mean,
Wi-Fi.
electricity, Wi-Fi. I mean, if you've got a home telephone and you use that as an example, but stationery, uh, some of the groceries, but there's a very specific way to deal with groceries as well.
Yeah.
So, yes, you can.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you can, as long as you do it the right way.
Yes. And you need to know the tax laws and stuff, which I
Exactly.
do not. But now specifically, let's move on to the big thing, and this is something that a lot of people are freaking out about, is the barter deals. If you do a
Yes.
barter deal with a company, if you get free accommodation, if someone does a deal with you for a rental car, all of that you need to declare as income. So a lot of people are obviously frustrated by that because you're not getting money.
Yes.
And that's why a long time ago I started to step back a bit from barter deals, except if it's something that I would have bought in any way. If
Yeah.
it's something that I need. So for me, it's not going to be worth it to get I don't even know, a golf cart
Yeah.
with, I don't know what golf carts are worth. With
Probably 100 or 160,000
yeah, we'll
upwards.
give you
yeah.
a 160,000 rand golf cart, lekker, and next thing you know, SARS says you got 160,000 rand this month.
Yes.
No, I didn't.
Well,
Waar is daai geldjie?
Exactly.
So you need to be careful with that. But can you explain to them like what you need to declare and what does not count as income?
Okay, so what we have to remember is that as income, what qualifies as income is where I get a benefit, may it be monetary or in terms of a barter deal. The benefit, let's say you get the golf cart. That benefit you get is 100,000 or 160,000 rand. You need to declare that.
Yeah.
That is important because it's a benefit you get. Okay, so there are some ways and some certain regulations around certain items. If you receive a block of coffee,
Yeah.
a tin of coffee, you receive a tin of coffee as a gift from someone. Depends on the value of that item, whether it's required to declare or not. But in addition to that, if you give someone, if you go and buy groceries as an example, you give that to someone as a donation, they need to be a registered public benefits organization, because they'll show the income, but they also give you a certificate, and you can deduct that expense then from your income tax. So there's various ways, but specifically when we talk about the bartering and the barter deals, if you invoice them, or if you invoice someone, you need to declare that income. If you get a benefit from someone in terms of a vehicle or equipment or holiday or something like that, you also need to declare that. Okay. If you've got certain costs involved with, call it, maintaining that item, then you can deduct those items, because you wouldn't have had that income if you didn't have the expense as well.
Yeah.
So there's things like that. What you can always remember is when we look at when you give free time, and I talk about when you give free time to a charity organization, is that you need to basically invoice them because they need to show that free time you gave them, especially when it gets to services. Okay?
Yeah.
But the moment if you don't expect them to pay, they can issue you with a Section 18A certificate to say that, and then you can write it off
I'm
as an
writing it
expense.
down.
Yeah, write
Section,
it 18A.
so that we can put it here on the screen.
Yeah,
Section
18A.
18A.
Yeah. So remember, then it's basically an in and an out.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay tax on it, because it's that in and out. Yeah.
All right. So from what I understand in terms of barter deals for influencers now, so you said if you need to invoice them or if they invoice you, for example, say you get accommodation whilst touring.
Yeah.
They say, okay, you can stay at this place. This is the cost of it. In return, so there's a contract in place.
There's a contract in place.
So they need to then invoice you for that amount. And then you, if this is like in this example, if you're traveling, like when I went to Cape Town, I did my comedy shows. That was a work travel.
Yes.
So I declare it as an income, and then I deduct it as an expense because
Basically,
I would have in any way needed to pay for accommodation.
Yeah.
If you work with a rental hire company, you have a deal in place. Again, it's an income and an expense. Yeah. But if someone just sends you something, say an author sends you one of their books and says, here's my book, if you like it, post about it. That is not a contract. That is not, there's not value added on that. It doesn't say, hi, this book is worth 300 Rand. In return, you need to do this. There's no contract in place. They said, here's a book, post about it if you want to. That does not, you don't need to declare that.
Yeah. There's no income derived from it in any case.
Yeah.
On their side, they gave you a small gift.
Yeah.
It's not like it's 100,000 Rand gift.
Yeah.
It's maybe a few hundred rands worth of gift.
So you need to check when the value of the item starts getting higher.
That's one thing.
And also you need to check if there's contracts in place. So for example, in the same example with the accommodation, if you are a travel influencer and you get accommodation, that is also going to be income expense.
That's it.
Because that is your job.
That's your job, yeah.
If you are a golfing influencer, a golfer, and you get a golf cart, that can be income and expense because that is your business. Yeah. But if you are Sami who's never played golf before, you're not going to claim that golf cart as a...
No.
Unless you say that's my public transport.
The public transport, maybe.
Yeah, so there's all sorts of different things that you need to look at. But I think that's just the clarity that I wanted, because a lot of people might get a few gifts here and there. Maybe someone sends them their coffee or whatever. That is not going to be, you need to declare every single thing unless it's part of a contract and an agreement.
Unless it's part of a contract, unless it's generating income for you. That's the main thing. Yeah.
And that's something I didn't know at the beginning, and that's why it's important to learn those sorts of things. Always when I did barter deals with people, they would invoice me. And I would be like, okay, thank you. I'm not paying it. Weird. Yeah. But now they can deduct it the company can deduct it on their side, but I didn't invoice them back. And then that would create a problem because now I have an income but no expense
Exactly, yeah.
booked.
Yeah.
So if you are an influencer, if you work with someone, you get a product of 10,000 Rand, you need to invoice them marketing
to that
10,000
value,
Rand.
that's it.
Just so that you make sure that that sort of thing is.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to bring up now that I'm thinking of it,
Yes.
sometimes bigger companies would get you, they'd say, okay, we will pay you 10,000 Rand, but we are going to deduct 1,000 Rand
Yes.
and pay it over to SARS.
That's it, yeah.
You as influencer need to follow up with that company to get your IRP 5.
That's it.
To prove that they did pay it over to SARS first of all, and to
Yes.
have that proof
Yes.
that money has been paid to SARS.
That's it, exactly. Because then you've also on your personal tax side or your business tax side, you've got that money that's been paid provisionally.
Yes.
On your behalf, yeah.
Yeah. And the reason, because I worked with a company and they deducted tax. And then when we checked, we were like, there's nothing filed. But then I didn't notice that it was in March or
so it's the
March.
next tax year.
So it's going to be for next tax year. So
That's
I was
it.
almost like, they didn't pay over my tax. You skermunkels.
Yes.
But no. But it is important for you guys to know that if someone deducts money from you for tax, you need to get our IRP 5.
That's it.
All right. Next topic. Okay. So if someone's watching this now, they've been doing the influencering.
Yes.
That's a word.
Okay.
And, it started out just in lockdown, having some fun. Now you see all these articles, it makes you afraid because we don't want to get in any mulligheid with SARS.
Yes.
Is it ever too late? Because I feel like, I know it sounds weird, but I feel like people would think, maybe I should just keep hiding because it was easy enough when I worked for a company because they handled all of that things. They paid over your tax. You knew I'm good. But now suddenly you find yourself as an entrepreneur. That is basically what it is. And you don't know where to start. You don't know if I now get started, am I suddenly going to owe SARS R1 million? It's a challenging thing to do. So where do you suggest people start?
Well, best way to start is actually to get someone to advise you properly. Tax practitioner, accountant. That's the first, I would say. It's never too late. The moment you realize, I'm worried about this, you should have actually been to someone already to advise you. The quicker you start getting the structure right, the better it is for your tax. Your tax liability, if I can put it that way. So the moment the tax liability is identified, there's also processes in place. If you were supposed to pay something and you haven't, there are processes in place to try and catch up with it, if I can put it that way. And
so it's not like you're going to go to someone, you're going to say, okay, I don't know, because we just had a conversation off camera. The shockingly low amount of things that we learn in school about tax is insane. A lot of people don't know how tax works. I'm one of them. You come out of school, you get a job, or at least that's how it went for me. Like, I worked for companies, they paid over tax. I never needed to really understand it. But then once you find yourself self-employed, it can get overwhelming. And then you have this thing of, I'm going to go now to an accountant with 12-month statements or whatever, and then I'm going to be arrested and be in jail for 5 years, because all of those articles is like 5 years jail. And you're like, oh my word, I did not even murder anybody. That sounds rough. So if you go to someone and you see that you are actually liable for some stuff, you actually do owe SARS money, they're not going to just immediately arrest you.
No.
And they're not going to say you need to pay the whole amount right now if it's a high amount that you owe. There's going to maybe be you
Well,
have this
yeah,
much time, or
they talk about you can make the payment arrangement, and that can be anything from 6 to 12 months.
okay.
So there is a payment arrangement that you can make with SARS. The other thing is we have to think of, would it be beneficial for SARS to lock you up? Because then you're not going to generate income for them anymore.
Do you know what I always think of? I don't know if you saw this, but whenever I think of tax evasion, I think of Jimmy Carr.
Oh yeah,
Do you know Jimmy Carr, the
I know the
comedian?
comedian. Yeah, yeah.
He's now known as comedian second, tax invader first.
Okay, okay.
Jimmy, if you're watching this, he's probably not. But my phone interrupted us again. At least this time it was just a message.
Yeah.
He got in a lot of trouble with what is the British version of SARS.
Yeah, I know American is the IRS,
IRS.
yeah, but it's the tax services in England or UK. Can't
And then
remember
he
the name,
owed
yeah.
millions.
Yeah.
Millions. Yeah. And I'm like, so you can afford an accountant. What the hell?
Yeah.
So whenever I think of tax evasion, I think of Jimmy Carr, and I'm just like, I don't want SARS to tell me I owe them millions. I've never even seen $1 million.
No, exactly.
And that, I think, is what made content creators a bit afraid, because with the gifts and stuff, let's be honest, that is an income. You don't get you can't buy food with that.
Yeah.
You can't go to your bank and say, hi, I got this phone for free. Can I pay my rent?
Rent, yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So that's why you need to discern what you do barter deals on. Is this
Yes.
something that you would have bought? Is it something that's going to help your business? Is it something, you don't always have to be responsible about it. If it's something that you really want,
Well,
you
that's
can
the
do,
other
but
thing, yeah.
you need to discern if that is worth a SARS declaration.
Yeah.
Is this, would I have bought this if I knew that this is going to be SARS
Being taxed, if
taxed?
it's being taxed, yeah. You know what, at the end of the day, I think the question should be more of, people sometimes feel that, call it the tax practitioners and the accountants, it's a grudge purchase. But it's something that will help you put structure to your tax planning.
Yeah.
You need to do proper tax planning as well.
Yeah.
So that you don't get to that stage where you owe probably money like Jimmy Carr owes and them. But that's
What
one
I
of the
like
things,
is he
yeah.
makes so much fun of himself because of that whole situation. It's very funny. It's funny now. I don't think he laughed when
Well,
it
you know
happened.
what? The other thing as well is accountants, the fee we charge you guys are tax deductible in any case.
Oh, hi. Sorry for the interruption. I just wanted to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by JJT Accountants, who is also my accountants and the ones responsible for making this video happen. They have offices in Kempton Park, in the Vaal, in Cape Town, in Zimbabwe, and they will not just be your accountants, they would be your business partner. They would be there with you every step of the way. Thank you so much, JJT Accountants, for making this episode possible and for being such a friend of Samuel Studios. I will put their details here if you have any SARS or tax related queries, because I don't know what I'm talking about, hence why I use them. Back to the episode. Okay, now I want to chat about expenses for influencers. Yes. The good thing, and I just want to make something clear, I'm not trying to advise anyone to evade tax. Also, I am not SARS. Don't come at me and be like, why do I have to pay? I don't know, because that's how the world works. Yeah. Also, I believe in paying tax. It's biblical. I believe it's your duty. Do I think our tax money is being used properly? No. But two wrongs doesn't make a right. You can't say, no, I'm not going to pay tax. Unless you maybe want to be Jimmy Carr one day. I don't know. Moving on. The good thing about content creation is that a lot of things can be deductible.
Yes.
Things that as a sole proprietor wouldn't be. I'm assuming from what I understand.
Yeah, certain things.
But for example, I do book talk. and booktube. I'm book reviewer.
Okay.
BookTok, booktube. So I review books.
Yes.
So if authors send you books, that is a income expense situation. But also if you buy books.
That's you
That
have
is
to do certain research, right? You buy the books because you do research, or you're going to use it.
No, you buy it because you make content about
Yeah,
the
100%.
books.
Then
So
and that's
exactly.
what So then of course it's
So of
something
course
you can
it's a
deduct.
expenditure.
It's
Yes.
expense. Yeah.
Also, we are in the public eye.
Yes.
We are sitting here in front of cameras. So a lot of things that in a normal job isn't deductible, like beauty, like clothing. Not all clothing, I'm assuming.
No, not all clothing. Yeah,
You
that's the
can't
first
claim
thing.
your pajamas.
Yeah.
Or, well, I can because I do a lot of videos in my pajamas. That's how I got my start. So a lot of things can be deductible depending on what your type of content is.
Exactly.
So you need to what receipts do you keep? Everything. You keep everything. You give it to your accountant. You say, yeah, your accountant knows your business, and they would be able to discern what can be business expenses or what is business expenses and what isn't business expenses.
Exactly.
But in terms of, I wanna make sure I understand this. Whether you're a sole proprietor or PTY Limited, if you travel for business, say you do MC work, you drive to Klerksdorp, which I did the other day.
Yes.
Your petrol is a business expense.
Yeah.
If you stop along the way to get a coffee, business expense.
Yeah.
Here in my studio, I made you coffee. Was it nice?
Yeah, it was alright.
I accidentally made you coffee because
Okay,
that's what I
fine.
drink.
That's fine.
I actually bought fancy coffee for my guests.
Oh, and then you don't give it to them.
And then I forgot to make it.
Well, okay, it's still a business expense because you have it ready for the client or the
Yes, so
supplier,
here
whoever
in my
comes here.
studio, I buy coffee and sugar and milk and cold drinks and snacks for guests when they come so that I can appear to be professional. That is a
yeah.
business expense.
Yes.
So I just don't want you to freak out. I freaked out when I saw it the first time. Not that to me it's obvious that you need to pay tax if you make money.
100%.
It's not like new to me. But the fact that eyes are on influencers now, it makes you feel uneasy. But don't freak out because a lot of things are expenses.
Yes.
This is another thing that I wanted to make sure about, whether it's personal income tax or business tax. If it says taxable income, 500,000 a year, you pay this percentage of tax. That 500,000 rand is after expenses was deducted.
No, that's before. So there's still expenses that can be deducted from there. So it's taxable income, and then there's deductions allowable. So you've got your taxable income, is call it your gross amount, and then you've got deductions allowed, and that in your personal capacity that would be medical aid and retirement annuity, items like that. If it's in a business kind of thing, that's basically your turnover minus your expenses, your deductible expenses, and then you've got a net taxable amount after deductions, and then that is based on rates. Yeah.
So do you pay because it's a sliding scale, it seems like.
Yeah, so in your personal, as an individual, the sliding scale is basically from 0 to 45%. In companies, it's either 0, 7%, or 27%.
Okay.
If it's not qualified as a small business corporation, it starts first rand net profit is 27%.
How do you discern if it's a small business?
There are certain specific requirements to qualify. One is the business should be owner managed. It should have 3 employees, not non-connected employees. So it means,
is that the 80-20 rule I saw something about?
That's something different as well. But it has to do. That's one of the prerequisites, if I can put it that way, is that not more than 80% of your income should come from one client. Okay. So that's the 80-20 rule, and then you need to be less than 20 million rands turnover. Yeah. Well, I understand there's some content creators that do that kind of
I
money.
don't feel
And
like
I
that
don't
is in our South Africa. Maybe
Okay.
Kim Kardashians,
Okay.
but not the Samuels
Okay. No, not us
or
plebs.
PT or
Yeah, yeah.
Sami. No, no.
Okay, and then the other thing is less than 50 employees.
Okay, so I don't qualify
You
because
don't
I have
qualify.
0 employees.
You've got
I
0.
do have employees, but it's just me with different wigs on.
That doesn't qualify. Unfortunately not.
All right.
Do the
Well,
names also differ?
They do.
Oh,
They have I have head of operations, I have our marketing manager.
but they don't have different ID numbers, right?
No,
Okay, so it doesn't qualify.
they are illegal aliens. Anyway, all right. I think there was something. Oh, now we're going to get to the comments. So I asked people if anyone has any comments or questions for you that I will read them here. So I'm going to go through them now.
Okay.
Some of them I think we kind of answered already,
Yeah.
but let's go through them. Okay. I'm not going to do names because I can't pronounce things and then I'm going to get cancelled.
You still struggle with your English?
Yeah, English
Yeah.
is not my first language. I know, shocking. I'm going to put a little screenshot of the question here. Well, I'm not going to do it. He's going to do it. But does he count as an employee? No, he doesn't.
Do you pay him a salary?
No.
No, he doesn't qualify.
I'm not paying him, just to be clear. No, it's like, what do you call them?
What?
Freelancers.
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 Yeah, they
so
won't
if you have
qualify.
multiple freelancers, it doesn't count.
Wouldn't qualify now.
Sar's just trying to cut us down by the knees. I don't know if that's the saying. All right. I really need to understand exactly what will be taxable from gifts, paid partnerships, and then how do you declare to SARS? Will they require a brand or business to show value, etc.? It's all a bit vague. So I think most of that we answered.
Yeah, most of that we answered, yeah.
If you have a contract with a company, they give you something and in return you have to do 3 videos, for example. That's a contract. They need to invoice you for the value of the not, it's not a gift.
It's not a gift, yeah.
The value of the item, and you need to invoice them back for 3 videos equals that amount that the
if it equals the same amount.
If it equals the same
amount, yeah.
Because sometimes the value of the marketing would maybe be 30,000, and then the item is 15,000, and they pay you 15,000 cash. Then it's like both.
Yes.
But it's just important that you in that case you have your contract. It's not even always necessarily a real contract. It's maybe an email exchange. Hi, Sami, will you post this? We'll give you this.
Yes.
That is a contract.
That's actually, yeah.
So just make sure that they invoice you, you invoice them. If it's like small little gifts, there's no agreement in place. You are not required to give this marketing package for that. They just send you something and you post about it. That you don't have to declare that. So that's how you show the value. Is that everything?
Just remember, on the gift side, it depends on the value of the item.
Yes, but I think even with non-influencers, if someone gives you a car, you need to pay gift tax.
So it's donations tax from the person that donates that item.
Oh,
They
so
need
they
to
pay tax.
They pay tax.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Someone give me a car. All right. Okay, the next question. Okay, this one we kind of touched on. Wondering if you donate a certain amount of content time to charity, can you benefit as a content creator, and what bracket must be reached? Interesting topic. So with that, this is something that I just learned today. Is for example, if you donate content for charity, that charity organization needs to be registered? Is it like an IPO?
Yeah. It's a public benefits organization.
Yes, so they need to be registered and give you, I wrote it down, Section 18A. Look at me being an accountant.
Well done.
So you give them, hi, I'll give you, over the next year, I will do content for you as a charity, what. But they need to be registered and give you a Section 18A.
Yeah, and the important thing is you tell them to the value of X, call it 30,000, and then you say you write it off, but you're sending them an invoice, and then they supply you with the receipt.
So you'll send them an invoice as you always do. Okay, 30,000 Rand for whatever.
Yeah.
You send them the invoice. They give you a Section 18A, whatever that is. And then you can write that off.
Yes.
From tax.
That's it.
The thing that I did not know is that if, for example, this is not me saying don't do charity if you can't benefit from it. Still do it if you can.
100%.
But just so you know what is tax, because a lot of people would say, oh, it's charity, it's tax exempt. But if, for example, I gave this example, if you go to your local supermarket and buy groceries and you want to help your community and you give the groceries to homeless people, for example, that you can't write that off.
Yeah, you can't deduct that from tax. Yeah.
No one's going to give you that little papier.
Section 18A. Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. I just remembered that apparently homeless is a derogatory term. I did not know that.
Oh, okay.
I learned it recently. I don't know what we're supposed to call it.
We can
Whatever.
Maybe we should ask AI or Google it or whatever.
I meant well. I don't know if it's true. You see things on the internet, but whatever. Is there more questions?
I don't know. Let's have a look.
Yeah, people racing with me as if I want to take their money. I don't want to take your money. Also, the people, I'm not naming names, but people who go in the comment section and say things like, I have so many businesses, I've never paid tax. Maybe don't put that on the internet.
Yeah, it might not be...
That is maybe stupid. Yeah. I'm not an expert. But maybe you are hearing yourself out as a toffee and SARS is going to kill you. Yeah. I'm just saying. Someone asked, and I don't even know what this means, but please, how do I apply for tax exemption? What does that mean?
So tax exemption, a non-profit company or a non-profit organization can apply for tax exemption. So applying for the tax exemption means that you can then issue the Section 18A certificates.
Oh, okay.
So especially the and that's what we call a public benefits organization. So the whole tax exemption public benefits organization registration goes together. The moment you've registered as that public benefits organization, then you can basically generate income and give out Section 18A certificates. But that is a process that's been done. You need to do that through the SARS tax exemption unit.
Okay.
That's something that
see,
we
because
do.
I see the lady, her username is Proud Autism Mom. So I'm assuming maybe it's a charity organization for autism.
Sounds like it, yeah.
They need to go where?
SARS. Registration. At SARS. It's something that accountants and...
So they can do it through the accountant.
Accountant, yes, absolutely.
That's always easier than going to, I don't know, SARS. But that is where you apply for that.
That's it.
I will ask you again to put on the screen what he just said. You can leave this in. We need not edit. I think that was all of the questions. Let me just make sure. Oh, this one I also didn't understand completely. I would love to know whether it's advisable to register for provisional tax as opposed to pay as you earn.
So it depends on the structure.
It says if you have multiple sources of income.
Multiple sources of income will be automatically provisional tax, and they need to register for provisional tax. Also, it doesn't, depending on the types of income, there might be a situation where someone would rather start a PTY Limited to run additional income. What we have to remember is that pay as you earn is a registration when the entity employs people.
And that's compulsory.
That's
That
compulsory
is not
if you
in
employ
lieu
people.
of.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
you
listen
employ
at me.
people, you register pay as you earn.
Okay.
But a pay as you earn registration is not, you don't register pay as you earn if you don't have employees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because pay as you earn registration is actually your responsibility to pay the tax and UIF and everything you've deducted from the employee over to SARS.
Okay. I think that is actually all of the questions. I hope you guys understand a bit more, just in terms of you don't need to freak out. I would have preferred if I owed nobody nothing. That would be nice. If I could just get all of the money and nothing cost anything, that would be lovely.
That would, yeah.
But personally, I decided, because I also started creating content during lockdown, and it wasn't that deep. I didn't think I was going to make any money off of it. I just did it because I wanted a creative outlet.
Yeah.
But as soon as things started picking up and I knew that I was going to do this for a living, I decided I need to take it seriously, and I want to be, you know, a member of society that brings my part and does my thing. So that's why I decided to speak to an accountant and to a trademark lawyer and all that big things that makes me sound like I'm professional.
Professional, yeah.
Huh? I'm just meeting my accountant. And it is a lot easier, obviously, to have someone to arrange it for you. But just to get started, I think it's important to just get a consultation, see where your things are standing, what's going to be needed. Once everything's in place, there's nothing that needs to be done on a permanent basis, except for you need to keep track of your expenses and your income. And then once a year, like Mariah Carey during Christmas, the tax man, that your accountant comes and he does the thing. That's how I see it. Yeah.
That's it.
That is a perfect analogy. Your accountant is like Mariah Carey during Christmas. Or Michael Bublé.
Just don't ask us to sing.
Well, you can.
It's fine, thanks.
All right, guys, so I'm going to put all of the details in the description down below. Get in touch if you have any questions. You can get a consultation. The first one's always free, as drug dealers would say. Can you say that on YouTube? Probably not.
I don't know. Edit it.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Get in touch with them. They work across the country. They can do virtual
yeah.
consultations and whatnot. So if you have any more questions, don't ask me. I don't know. Ask them. I just put this out here. I'm the Christmas father of tax information. I'm not responsible. I'm just giving the information through. Yeah.
That's it.
Got backlashes on SARS. Please. Anyway, if you have any questions, you can let me know in the comments down below, and I will ask him to answer them. Also, they have a YouTube channel where you can get for free, gratis verniet, information about tax and such. I will also link that down below. Go subscribe to them if you want to. I'm not the boss of you. Thank you for coming.
That's an absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you for all of the information. I think hopefully people learn something.
I hope so
Personally, I knew all of this because I'm an expert in tax.
And we've spoken a lot about it.
We have spoken a lot. Thank you. I am now, guys, for the record, Sami All Studios Pty Limited.
That's it. That's it.
I can claim more than you. That's a weird thing to brag about.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for coming. And guys, pay tax. One wrong doesn't make a right, or eyeball for doesn't equate for an eyeball. I can't remember what the saying is, but pay tax. You have to. Okay, bye.